Hi, this is Black Bear Prepper, and again we are talking about, in our series of videos, for 72-hour kits. Okay, we've already gone over shelter, we've gone over water, we've gone over first aid, we've gone over hygiene. Okay, now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. We're going to talk a little bit about tools. We're going to talk about the food I put in my kit and why I picked it. Okay, so let's first of all, let's talk about tools. So our tool bucket. Okay, I put something in there I find very important when the TV goes out. Games. So I have a set of Phase 10, pack of Uno. I'll tell you right now, this is going to be useful stuff. Definitely something to think about. Paracord. You can never have enough paracord. Have lots of paracord. We have a solar battery charger. So if you've got batteries in the house that are battery powered, AA's, AAA's, you know, whatever. These chargers are real nice. You stick them out, they charge up. There's all different versions of them out there. There's some real thin ones nowadays, you know, you can do, but this one is specifically solar powered for charging AA batteries, things like that. Then we have work gloves, you know, some to wear. A pair of work gloves. We got to dig out a car. We got to do those kind of things, and a pair of latex gloves. Not latex, but you know, your standard blue doctor type gloves. They're great for all kinds of things. We got gooey blood, whatever it is. You can even put them underneath your gloves to kind of protect your hands and then protect the gloves. This is where I tell everybody, I think that I see in most kits where they have skimped. Okay? The actual tools themselves. Fixed blade knives. Okay, this is great for everything from eating to putting on the end of a spear, or whatever it is you're going to need to do with these things. Fixed blade knives are really important. This should not be a dollar item. You know, 50 bucks is not a bad idea to be spending on a good quality knife. Throw it in the kit. Make sure they're sharp before you put them in the kit. A second fixed blade knife. There's 5 of us. You know, never a bad idea to have an extra, you know, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. There is a saw, a little foldable saw in here, and a little miniature sharpener. Is this going to make your knives perfect again? No, but it might get you back. If you've ever skinned an animal, you know, skinning at an animal, everybody goes, oh, I'm going to hunt. Okay, that's great, but you got to be able to sit there and be able to sharpen your knives while you're out there, because they will get dull as you're skinning. No matter what knife you buy and how many times they tell you, they never get dull. The other thing in here, we have a shovel. This shovel also has a saw and a hatchet built in. These are pretty reasonably priced. You know, this is not a $1 million item, about 20, 30 bucks. You know, buy a decent one. You've got some zip ties in there. Whistles, these are good Fox 40 whistles. I really like the Fox 40. I put one on every single kid. You know, and anytime I lose them, I tell them, you know, blow the whistle. We have a fold-up survival knife for cutting seat belts or cutting people out of cars. Then we have a fishing kit, okay? You know, there's hooks in here, there's a couple lures, there's plenty of fishing wire, or fishing line can be used for all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be just for fishing. 22 caliber rounds. Whatever weapon you decide to put in your kit, feel free. I'm not going to question it, but that's you know, that's 300 rounds there, sealed up, ready to go. Don't ever have to worry about it again. A couple wrenches. This is great for being able to turn off the water at your house. Maybe you've gone to a church or a school or something like that, and all the little valves have to have that little tool to turn them on. It's a good idea. Turn the gas back on after a disaster. Maybe they've gone around and turned everything off. You come somewhere, you can turn them back on. So there is a good quality. These are Challenger Proto, American-made ones. Don't buy the junker ones. Put decent stuff in your kit when it comes to these items. They really do need to work. You know, you don't want to sit there and say, ah, well, I skimped. Some more rope. We've got our clothespins finally. Sorry about that. That's kind of goes along with the hygiene, so I can set up a clothesline, wash our clothes. A little bit of black electrical tape, never hurt anybody. A corded phone, okay? You will find a lot of places do not have phones anymore, but they have credit card machines. Credit card machines run off of corded phones. So you can actually sit there. Maybe you can't get a call out on your cell phone because all the things are plugged up, but you can take that cord out of your credit card machine or out of your, and just plug in your cords. So make sure you got your cords there, and they just plug right into the same sockets, and you can make phone calls off there. Okay? So that kind of goes over our tool bucket. You know, you can pick whatever you feel you need in there. I think this is a kind of a minimalist thing for me. You know, you could say, oh, that's a ton of stuff. That's too much stuff. Okay, second of all, we're going to get into our food bucket. So our food bucket, of course, real easily marked. It says food right on the top. And this particular bucket says stoves. So this is going to deal with cooking and fire. Fire starters. Pretty simple stuff. No brain surgery there. Bucket opener helps you get into all those food buckets. You know, your hands are all torn up from working outside and things like that. You go over to a school, they got a lot of food in buckets. It's always a good idea to have these. These also have the turn on for your gas, your propane, and to be able to open up the big 55-gallon water jugs. Kind of a neat idea. 2 titanium pots with a isobutane canister in here. The lids / fry pans that go along with it. This is a wood burning stove. If you feel the need to put it in there, I had room. They're light. It's made out of this is a homemade one made out of a couple of soup cans. Something to think about there. I have 2 stoves in my kit. Okay, 2 different ways to go here. First is going to be a white gas international type stove that is going to have, I have 2 20-ounce or 132 and 120 ounce tank of fuel. So that should really get me through about 2 or 3 days worth of cooking pretty easily. And even truthfully, if we're not in really cold weather, about 5 or 6 days. Now if we're just dealing with, if we're dealing in cold, I usually do about 8 to 10 ounces per 3 people for a day period. That's kind of what I say is my minimum. And I go to the worst case scenario I can possibly think of, snowing craziness, okay? So if we have to go up to the mountains to survive, that's where we're going to be. I have a Whisper Light International, which means it will run on diesel fuel, kerosene, jet fuel, all your different types of fuel. I have 2 pumps in here. Why do I have 2? Because one breaks. I've had them break on me before. You're not going to want to be calling up, MSR and saying, hey, can you throw me some parts down here? They'll be there in 6 months after the disaster. So 2 pumps in there, an extra rebuild kit for the pumps, and that has all the parts plus the windscreens inside. Okay. My next stove is a canister stove. Why canister stoves? Because we can burn those inside tents. You should not do that. But let's just say you have to, or you're inside. The canister stoves are a little easier. You don't have to prime them. And a lot of the canisters are all over the place, but they're super easy. You light them up. They're great. This is a Rapid Fire by MSR. This is a discontinued stove. I really like this because you can invert the canister. And you can invert the canister and use it in the cold weather mode. So if you're in a situation where the tank gets really low, you can actually spin the canister upside down and cook with that. So that's why I picked this versus one of the little itty bitty stoves. It has a nice pot stand that I can actually use. Lots of heat, great stove, easy to use. And I can actually put a windscreen around it, which we can't with the stove on top of canister style stove. So that's why. So I have an MSR Whisper Light International multi-fuel stove and a Rapid Fire isobutane stove. So definitely 2 of my favorite stoves for this kind of situation. Couple pots, you've got that idea. Now, could you buy that in one stove? Absolutely. You could buy right now, you can buy the MSR Whisper Light Universal, which kind of has a little bit of both. It will be able to do the gases and the tanks. More power to you. Radio, sewing kit, pretty self-explanatory stuff. We have a Leatherman super tool in here. Good quality tools are important. This has a can opener in it. Keep that in mind. And a set of silverware for up to 5 people. Matches, light sticks, another knife sharpener, some other fire starters. That's kind of where we're at there. Okay? So this is all pretty basic stuff, nothing too fancy, just what we have in ours. We get to our last real bucket, which is a food bucket. I keep a couple different kinds of food in here. First of all, I have MREs. I've got 2 of those in there. They're marked with the dates. I purchased them in 2014, so they're just getting up on their dates right now. Another year or so, those will be changed out. And then I have a whole bottom of the bucket here is full of freeze-dried meals. So my family picked out what they like. What I like about these, they're 25-year shelf life. They're not super cheap, but I can rotate them in. I try to buy a couple every year to rotate them out as they need to be. They do last, you know, this one's good till 2024. So I bought them quite a little while ago. Okay, so 25 years on those guys. Usually you're just fine there. My last bucket is going to be a simple food bucket here, which is an emergency food storage package. This is just a supplementary. You know, we have more food than we could really use for our 72-hour kit, but right around this, this has a 20-year shelf life on it. I like these because you buy them, get them on sale sometimes at Walmart and Costco, and they're pretty reasonably priced. But this kind of gives you the ability to, you know, have food, you throw in the kit, you know it's there, you know it's good. It's all sectioned out into meals, and you're good to go. So that's kind of the last thing in our kit. Now, do you need a kit this big, or do you need to buy your kit this way? No. But this is encouraging you to think about what you might have in your kit. Have you gone through it lately? Is your food something that's going to go bad next year? How often do you check it? I like to check my kit twice a year. Conference, whatever that is for you. We usually pull ours open for conference. We're LDS, so we pull it open for conference, and we check through it and make sure there's nothing that's gone expired, nothing's leaked, nothing's had problems. You need to do that with your kit. You know, if you don't have a kit, start somewhere. Buy something simple. Get yourself a simple water filter. You don't have to go crazy. Get one of everything and then go to the next level. Always improve. So as always, this is the Black Bear Prepper, and you guys have a great day. Please leave any questions or any questions or anything you think we need to change or ideas on things you'd like to see in the future. Leave them in the bottom and subscribe.